Well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird's a winner, well, a bird.
Grown men watch this shit?
A podcast about indie wrestling.
Bird is a winner, well, a bird. Well, a bird is a winner, well, a bird. The bird's a winner, well, a bird. Well, a bird is a winner, well, a bird.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 4 of
Grown Men Watch This Shit? Episode 4, all right, we're here. How you feeling, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. I was really happy with how everything shook out last episode with the interview with Jonah. So good to catch up with him and, you know, everything that you're missing and not talking to a good friend for a long time. I was really happy with that. And yeah, just enjoying the overall momentum of things, of the show. And yeah, the sky is the limit, my friend. Very excited.
Yeah, it was fun being a third party to your guys' conversation. I did get my shit in every once in a while, but it was interesting seeing and listening to you guys catch up with everything and learning a little bit more about Australian wrestling in general, and then of course Jonah's career.
Yeah, definitely interesting scene. You got to make sure you get your shit in, brother.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I thought you got a bit of shit in. You had some nice insight. I appreciated you being the third man in the ring there, man. I thought you did a good job.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
Great. So yeah, getting from last episode where we had all the news and an interview. Today we do still have quite a bit of news. A lot of interesting stuff kind of going down for us to chat through. In addition to, I was very excited to have a little bit of a watch of the Game Changer Wrestling Tournament of Survival that took place a couple of weeks ago, featuring probably the match that I was the most excited to hear for like ever, which was PCO against Joey Janela. So I look forward to having a little bit of a chat about that later as well for our listeners. Yes. Yeah, let's just jump on in. Let's jump into it, man.
All right. We touched base. We jumped right out of the gate with this last week, but again, I have to keep us abreast of David Arquette Watch 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Arquette has now made his foray actually into a wrestling ring and jumped in and took a little bit of a swing at the Rock Ness Monsters, friend of mine, Johnny Yuma. But he dropped them both with a double stunner. So it's exciting to see my hero, my personal hero, David Arquette, back in the ring. Your feelings and thoughts, friend?
Amazing. I'm just so excited about every little bit of this development. Where was that? Was that bar wrestling? Where'd that happen?
Oh, it was at Peter and Ray's surprise birthday party spectacular. So PP Ray, Ray Rosas, and Peter Avalon, they had like a little birthday party shindig. I think it's at the same place that they run bar wrestling, but I don't know necessarily if it was a bar wrestling show per se.
Okay. How interesting.
Yes, but yeah, so David Arquette I don't think he was actually a part of the match. It looks like he just did a run-in, but still cool. That's awesome. And I wonder if he's actually started taking bookings and like doing like full matches, or he's just going to do spots. What do you think?
Well, I mean, he has had the match announced for that that Clowns show, right? With him and
outside
Jimmy
of that,
Tornado.
I mean, yes.
So I mean maybe I guess that's going to be the in-ring debut, I would assume.
Okay.
But who knows? Yeah, what the hell? Like that bar wrestling venue. I don't know if this one was at the venue, but that's the same one that had like Macaulay Culkin a little while back doing his in-ring thing there. How do they get in touch with all of these top celebrities? It's pretty cool.
I think Joey Janela, or not Joey Janela, I apologize.
Joey
Ryan has quite a connection to the LA like comedy and acting scene. So a lot of those people are wrestling marks. So believe it or not, they as I am myself, always waiting for the moment that we can get our moment to shine in the wrestling ring, even if it means we may have to possibly take a bump. So yeah, super fucking fans like Macaulay Culkin, and there's been other people that have gotten an opportunity, like Stephen Amell. He actually fucking got to go and wrestle a big event. So fuck, man, if I had the opportunity, would you? Well, you're an actual former wrestler, but if I had the opportunity to go in there and just shake it up and just maybe take one clothesline or something, I'd fucking do it. I'm a mark though.
Let's not go too far in saying that I was a former wrestler. I think the bar for back in the day Australian wrestling may not have quite qualified as that, but it was fun nonetheless.
All right. Well, welcome back, David Arquette. I think it's fun to cover that as like it's the biggest news item in the world, because to me, frankly, it really is.
Oh yeah, definitely. I cannot wait to see what happens next on the David Arquette watch. Yeah, so next up,
You see like a little ticker, a noise that comes in, like beep 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 beep. David Arquette, beep 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 beep. Arquette watch 20.
I need that. I need that in my life. Maybe there can be an app that's developed where anytime some sort of David Arquette wrestling thing goes down, we can get a little beep. I just want to get an old school beeper that I can like carry around anywhere, and it's only for David Arquette updates.
Good God! All right, it's gone a little too far.
Okay, let's wind it back.
All right.
So one of the other big things we spoke about last week, obviously, with the Punk Cabana, Dr. Aman, I don't know how you say the jerk's name, but whatever. Just how groundbreaking that was, and how much of an awesome win it was for the little guys. Going on from that, after we recorded the show, obviously Punk then had to go into the cage in UFC the week of the court trial. Obviously, he didn't, light the world on fire, but just to actually fight under those circumstances, I think all credit to the guy, ballsy as all hell, and for anyone that I've heard, taking shots at the dude saying he doesn't belong in there or whatever, I don't understand it myself. I mean, what do you think?
Personally, I'm always one of those guys that thinks if people can make the UFC or any company a little bit of money, they have a right to be in there. CM Punk is going to be a draw on a UFC card. People are going to either want to see him get his ass kicked or watch him attempt to win a fucking fight. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way. It was a pretty brutal looking fight overall. I guess both of the guys look like they're no longer going to be competing in the UFC potentially. So, Michael Jackson, even I guess after Daniel Bryan talked a little smack on Twitter or social media, he also I guess was trying to throw some fucking shade on Daniel Bryan. So, man, fucking wrestling in the UFC. But regardless, your first original question, I think it's awesome. The guy went out there, he pursued his dream. Not many of us say we've done that, especially to the highest extent possible. Sure, his name maybe gave him a little bit more opportunity, but what's the point of establishing a name if you can't make use of it? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I mean, I don't know, frankly, what he's going to do from here going forward. I probably think that UFC is not the best place for him, going forward into the future. If he wants to keep kicking this on, probably somewhere like Bellator or one of the, something in Japan, who knows, could be a thing. But hey, the world is his oyster, and in all reality, it's his life to lead. That's the biggest takeaway from it for me. All these, bench coaches or whatever that want to tell him what to do, he needs to just go back to WWE or whatever. Get fucked. Just dude wants to live his life. Let him live his life. Along the same avenues of great Sasuke singing with Joey Janela at the end of the spring break to the wonderful song "It's My Life."
Yes. And also, who cares? CM Punk doesn't want to. He doesn't give a fuck about wrestling. And eventually, one day he wants to do another match, and I don't care. I would love to see him back in the WWE. I think the possibility of that is very slim, almost non-existent. But hey, who cares? He entertained us for the period of time he's gone now. Deal with it. A lot of people still chant his name as if he's going to come back. A lot of say just to fucking be annoying.
I love that he's still the most over guy in the company, 5 years removed from actually being there. I always get a kick out of it.
I mean, He's a once in a lifetime talent as far as the overall package is concerned. He never was the most tremendous professional wrestler, didn't have the greatest body, but fucking God, the guy could entertain and he could work like a motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, so good. I think a lot of people owe it to themselves. If you want to see some CM Punk and you're sad that you're not seeing him in WWE, go back and watch yourself some retro ROH. Go back and watch yourself some CM Punk versus Samoa Joe. Watch yourself that Summer of Punk where he finally won the ROH title and was like the hottest heel in all of wrestling. Watch his sick matches with James Gibson, now Jamie Noble. Those matches were great, and I don't think they get the credit they were due. Punk had so much fun stuff in ROH, and I think a lot of people might not have seen that. And hey, we have an awesome ROH streaming service available now, On a Club, I believe, and they're actually releasing a lot of those older shows. So heck, go back and give it a watch, guys. Enjoy Punk at his best.
Dude, some of that great stuff with Raven and him. That shit was brutal, man. That was some real raw emotional storytelling with Punk really going all in with his straight edge gimmick. So yeah, if you've never got an opportunity to see the full force of the straight edge CM Punk, which we got maybe a light taste of in the WWE, yeah, definitely go check that out.
Yeah, man, that Raven feud was actually what made me such a big fan of CM Punk initially. Back in ROH, it was like 2003, I think. Initially, he came in and had a sweet series of matches with Cabana. But yeah, just in terms of great storytelling, promos, twists and turns, I thought that the Raven feud was fantastic. Loved the matches, and yeah, Raven was great as well back then. People forget how good a run Raven had in 2003. Hey,
perfect opposing force for CM Punk at that time too. It's just like you couldn't write it any better. That's why I was really hoping that back when there was tease, CM Punk and Stone Cold kind of almost went into business for themselves, like teasing a potential match that never happened. But imagine if they used that. Oh fuck, that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, man. So much good stuff. All right, so one of the next things that I was very excited about in the wrestling news these days is the developments that are happening in the world of Mexican wrestling. Now, this has been simmering for a couple of months now, a little while. Started all with the man, L.A. Park. A lot of players at home may know him as the original La Parka from WCW, the chairman of WCW, as it were.
Yes, sir.
Dude has had a great run on the Mexican indies the last couple of years. He's had an awesome feud with this guy Rush that some people might know about. Just having some great brawls. Probably my favorite brawl of the actual year was a match that those dude had in, I want to say, Monterey last year, that you can find on the YouTube. But yeah, I mean, Park is definitely getting up into his older years. He's probably generously up around the 280-pound mark.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so he's a bit up there, but he can still go like a motherfucker. And he's still over as fuck as well, to where he made his surprise, shocking return to CMLL and Arena Mexico about a month or so back. And since then, he's had a couple of matches there. People may not know, but CMLL and Arena Mexico, the promoter there, Paco Alonso, has been rumored to hold a grudge to where people leave and they're not very welcome back. LA Park was definitely on that list with some other guys, like Conan is a good example of someone that's been on the outs with Arena Mexico.
Let's not be too
time.
harsh. This is kind of a common occurrence with a lot of promoters, as far as I've known. Yeah.
Exactly, and I love me some Conan as well. So
yes.
Friend of the show, I guess. I don't know.
I'd say for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so a lot of ways people leave Arena Mexico, not necessarily coming back. That seems to have completely changed. Park came back and has resumed his amazing feud with Rush in CMLL. rumored to be looking towards going to main event the biggest CMLL show of the year, the anniversary show, La Aniversario, against Rush in a hair versus mask match, which is like the biggest match in Mexican wrestling that I've heard of for quite a few years, maybe going back since that Atlantis Ultimo Guerrero match. So I'm tremendously excited about that, but that kind of set the precedent for just changing the whole face of the way that Mexican wrestling works in terms of guys working one place and not others. So that's extended to where more recently we've had two awesome standouts from PWG, Lucha Underground, pretty much all of the cool indies going on right now. Pentagon Jr. and Fenix also coming into CMLL. Fenix has already made his debut last week. And yeah, these guys are now working CMLL and also working AAA, which is kind of like working in the 90s, WWF and WCW simultaneously. It's crazy.
Which, even crazier wrinkle is fucking previously with Fenix and Pentagon both having their names basically ripped from them by AAA, suing them, trying to keep the rights. So that leads me to the first question: what monikers are they going to be using over there? Is it going to be Pentagon Jr. and Fenix, or is it like Penta L0M, or what's going on?
Well, that's like another really interesting ripple to the story as well, because so get this, in AAA, and both actually announced as working Triple Mania, which is AAA's WrestleMania of the year as well. So in AAA, they're going to be working as Fenix and Pentagon Jr., while on the Independents and in CMLL and the Crash, Fenix uses his non-AAA / Lucha Underground name of either Rey Fenix or just the King. So he's like got two simultaneous separate copyright deal gimmicks going at the same time. Pentagon, the same. Pentagon Jr. in AAA Lucha Underground. Penta El Cero Miedo in the Independents. And I'm assuming that's what he'll be using in CMLL as well. So, what a world.
Yes, sir.
And like at the same time, Lucha Underground's just returned to TV as well. So they're appearing there weekly on all whatever indies in the States, in CMLL, AAA, the Crash. Like, geez, are they going to turn up on Raw next week? What the hell? They're like RVD back in the day in the 90s, working for WWF, WCW, and ECW in the span of 1 week.
That'd be tremendous. Are like Pentagon and Fenix? Are they officially like this generation's like Mill and Blue Demon, or like what's going on? Like that's what they're so huge. Like they're working everywhere. They're like upper echelon. They're like main eventing in every place they go to, carrying multiple titles wherever they go.
You could definitely like make that correlation to being like a modern day version of Mil Mascaras, in terms of like Mil was almost a bigger star outside of Mexico than he was in Mexico. I mean, he was obviously a huge star in Mexico, but like he was a really big star in Japan, obviously in the States and all the different territories as well. So it's like they are too, just working everywhere. It's great to see. It'll be interesting. It'll be a real test actually now that they're in sort of the big leagues of Mexico in CMLL and Arena Mexico, to see if they can sort of parlay that independent fame and independent drawing ability to actually drawing some serious business to what's probably the greatest wrestling venue in the world right now in Arena Mexico in my book. And I mean, going further than that, there's that, I don't know if people know, but that building holds a really special place in the hearts of pretty much all Mexican wrestlers. To say that you've wrestled in Arena Mexico is the equivalent of a guy in the States saying he's wrestled in Madison Square Garden in a lot of ways. Fenix actually mentioned this in an interview recently about how big of a deal that was for him and Pentagon, because he said they actually used to be the kids outside Arena Mexico selling the bullshit masks and hot dogs and whatever, scalping shit to make a few bucks outside of the venue as kids when they were growing up. And to say he's gone all that way to now actually wrestling there. I mean, he said because there was such a thing of, if you work other places, you're not necessarily welcome there. A little while ago, he was in town, he wasn't booked, he just wanted to see a show. So him and his wife went to the show, but he actually wore a Blue Demon mask so people wouldn't recognize him. I thought that was really, really funny, a little interesting thing.
That's awesome. Oh, I thought I was waiting for another wrinkle in the story, like all of a sudden, but they recognized his wife and they said, "Hey, Phoenix, get the fuck out of here."
No, I'd heard a similar story from Conan where he had to have the guys smuggle him in and he was wearing a mask or whatever just so he could go to the show. So it's, serious stuff, and now to just see how much this is changing and who knows where it's going to go. It's just a very exciting time. If people don't already, you can actually check out the basically the biggest Arena Mexico show of the week every Friday night. It's streamed for free live on the CMLL website proxy. I think it's called Collateral Sports. You can find it off there. It's also streamed live on their Facebook. And for any updates, if you want to check it out, just Google Cubs Fan. Cubs Fan is the best resource that you can possibly have with his Lucha blog in terms of keeping up with all the news and happenings in Mexican wrestling. It's a very exciting place, and those Friday night Arena Mexico shows are fun as shit to watch. And I know I'll be tuning in to see LA Park and Fenix and Pentagon and just see how all this goes forward.
What, of course, a La Parka or LA Park mask loss is going to be huge news and a big paycheck for that gentleman. Do you think he's, as you mentioned, getting kind of big, getting kind of old? Is he at the stage in the career? Do you think he's ready to do that, or?
I think so. I think he's personally got to be one of the biggest draws, biggest names in Mexican wrestling right now. Even though he is a bit older, guys in Mexico generally have far longer careers than we're used to in American wrestling, to where they are really hitting their peak time in terms of drawing ability and can still actually go in the ring like motherfuckers in their 40s and 50s. So I think this is going to be huge. I think this may be like talking about the biggest mask versus hair match of all time. I think it'll probably
be... Rush a big babyface, or is he a heel?
A big time heel. He's interesting because for a long time he's officially a technico, in terms of the way that he works, but he's the most hated man in Mexico basically, almost like for a long time the Mexican version of John Cena, but now he sort of plays it more as a straight up heel. With he originally created Los Ingobernables. Before,
familiar with him as him himself. I just wasn't sure how he's wrestling, because the heat of taking one of the biggest names mask, that's something only a few guys can kind of carry going forward. So it's good that they pick somebody like Rush to potentially take that mantle. You know what I mean? That's not something you just give to anybody.
No, and his hair has actually been protected better than like anyone's hair in the history of Mexican wrestling.
His hair's super long.
Yeah, well, that, and he's had a lot of these matches, like hair versus mask matches, and he's won quite a few really famous masks with his hair on the line, when normally, you'd expect a guy's going to get a haircut rather than a dude losing his mask and identity and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's been built up really well. I'm very excited. And yeah, their first match where LA Park made his grand return to Arena Mexico was one of the craziest brawls you will see. He threw a beer cart at him, and it was pretty insane. Tore the mask up. It's just great to see. So I'm excited that one. Oh, just such blatant disrespect.
Disgusted. I'm disgusted. I can't even hear about it. Let's continue on to something else, please.
Let's continue on. Well, on the theme of Mexican wrestling, I'm actually getting a bit of a call right now. We're going to have a run-in to the show. Oh boy. Let's see just how this goes. I'm not going to make any promises. Let's see. I may be recording over this if technical things do not work.
Yeah, this may be cut out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I have successfully got this this run into the show that we previously discussed happening. We have a run-in call from a roving reporter in nowhere else but Tijuana, Mexico. It is my good friend John. How's it going, man?
Hey, Chris, I'm doing awesome. I appreciate you having me here. For anybody that's listening, I have literally never been on a podcast or in any way had more than 2 people at a time listen to me talk about wrestling. So hopefully we do all right.
Yeah.
Oh, me and Chris here haven't been doing this together for very long, so it's almost like just amateur hour all across the board. So don't worry about it. It's good.
We are known for our unprofessionalism, so take that.
Oh, I can definitely do that.
Excellent.
Excellent. But yeah, I mean, for our listeners, I thought it'd be really cool to have John on because, as mentioned, he's currently in Tijuana, and this past weekend, John actually got to go to a crash show, which is one of the big companies in Mexico. We were just talking about CMLL and AAA. I'd say Crash is probably the number one behind those two. And they've been doing really cool stuff, putting on really fun-sounding cards down in Tijuana. And yeah, man, you actually got to go to one of them. I'm super jealous. Like, it's been on my bucket list to go to Mexico for so long, and then here you are, just making it on down there, living the dream.
Yeah, it's actually relatively affordable from my hometown in Denver. As some of the things I'm going to talk about, I kind of want to allude to a comparison here. I guess I want to start off by saying how I met Chris Bryan here. Chris and I met at PWG Battle of LA last year. We met on one night. We shared a cab back into downtown LA, and we've been friends ever since. We also saw each other at WrestleMania weekend, where we got to go to some different shows. I'm sure everybody knows the different shows that have gone on there, so I won't waste your time there. But it's always, I didn't get a chance to go to the Crash show when I was at WrestleMania weekend. It had always been on a bucket list, and it looks like I found the dream show. Yeah. It was definitely something to go to, and I recommend anybody take the trip.
That card looked like so much fun just from an outside perspective. What a one to just sort of luck into, working out with everything there. The one thing that I did want to call back to from our WrestleMania weekend experience, one of my favorite things that I have ever done was the drinking out of a paper bag. What was it? Was it Jack? Some sort of bourbon? Anyway, we ended up just drinking out of an anonymous paper bag out the front of a ROH show. Having a great time.
Wild Turkey 101. Yeah, we pre-gamed pretty hard. We got kind of rowdy for that Ring of Honor show.
I think we did.
Need to.
Yeah, that's really the best way to approach any wrestling show. Just get drunk off your ass and be offering shots to any passerby that you see at the front of the venue. That was so much fun, man.
So, I also met Chris at PWG Battle of Los Angeles. So, Chris, how many new friends and new acquaintances did you acquire out here in Los Angeles? Because it seems to be brimming. Your social life is full of PWGites. And now that I've looked at your picture, Mr. Craft, yes, we in fact have met.
Nice.
Okay, great. I'm sorry I don't have your picture in front of me.
I'm the big, tall, goofy, bearded guy that's really loud. That
sounds like your everyday PWG
exactly.
fan.
That was kind of the point. I was in a Bullet Club shirt, maybe wearing cargo shorts. You never know.
Oh, perfect.
Nice. I cannot imagine anyone at PWG wearing cargo shorts and a Bullet Club shirt, sir. That sounds ridiculous to me.
Blasphemous. So you made the trip down to Mexico. Is this solely a wrestling-based trip, or were there other aspirations of going other places while you're down there?
Well, as I said, I had a job interview in San Diego for a company that's going to be expanding into my hometown of Denver. But when I saw the card and everything lined, they've been trying to get me to go out for weeks, and it was never anything time sensitive. And with everything that happened last week that I mentioned, I really wanted to get out there, lined up the show. I said, this is the week I got to do it. Told everybody that's where I was going, and it was awesome. And speaking of PWG, when I was down there, there was a meet and greet before that I attended that I'll tell you a little bit about. But when I was there, I saw Brendan Creasy from PWG. He's pretty good friends with some of the wrestlers, was doing a little bit of the driving for people getting them across the border. And then I also saw the famous Tim who always sits by the aisle, the bigger guy with the glasses, and always sits in that same. Yeah, Tim Treacy. I saw him right there. Got a chance to get to know these guys a little bit. It was a great time. So it was really kind of a nice homecoming with a way to expand, my circle for when I come back to PWG, because Lord knows every time I go, I fly. So, I don't know everybody except for who I've met there. And it's been a really good time. But yeah, that meet and greet was great. So it cost 150 pesos. Anybody that's not really familiar with that, that's about
like $10.
what, 750? Yes, 1050, 750 right now, given the exchange rate. And that was really cool. And I got to say, it was in a way, it was much like PWG, where that is free. Everybody was just kind of sitting around the ring, selling their merchandise, ready to sign photos. But it was a little different because it's Mexico, because of everything that, goes on with, just different people's economies and budgets and whatnot. All the wrestlers were there ready to take pictures. People were getting autographs signed on like your regular steno pads, just flipping sheets as the new wrestlers. And it was really great. I got pictures with, let's see here. I got pictures with, first off, Alberto El Patron was there.
Oh, that's quite
Pentagon
elusive
was,
to actually, get to
Yeah, he
see
showed up.
Alberto El Patron on a show that he's announced for. That's a pretty elusive thing.
Yeah, he definitely showed. And much props, Alberto, if you're listening. We really appreciate you showing up, and I appreciate the picture. It's got to get
That's so
pushed
awesome.
out of the way.
Props for
Little
doing what
kid.
you promised you would be doing.
It was really interesting because
You've got paid. That's
kids,
awesome.
yeah. So these kids, keep in mind, we're in Mexico. So Alberto El Patron, Pentagon, Rey Mysterio, Fenix, these are all their heroes. So I was really getting pushed out of the way by these kids and their parents trying to get a picture. When I did get to the front of the line, I just said, Alberto, I know you're very busy. Quick selfie, click, and just got out of the way and let these kids enjoy it. But when I was there, I got a chance to, we've got a local show that I'd like to plug in a minute that I was looking to, get some booking information for with different people. And, it was really nice, for example, talking to Bandito. Bandito
Man,
does speak some English.
Bandito is so good. He is like blowing up like crazy right now. On that New Orleans show, the Super Show, he had a sick match. It was like Bandito Jr. and Flamita, I want to say. Against like Ray Fenix and someone else. But yeah, Bandito Jr. is so good.
That was something. And it was funny because that's one of those shows, just like a PWG, where people threw money into the ring, and we have always heard that that's tradition, but I got to see that firsthand.
Yeah, that's authentic. That's cool.
It's great. And what's funny is you can't actually throw a peso bill in the ring because there's that plastic material in it. You can't wad it up. People were actually throwing coins into the ring.
Wait, what do you mean by plastic material? I have very little experience with physical Mexican money. Please, what do you mean?
Yeah, sure. So in the United States, we have very paper bills. But in other countries, as you may know, euros and things like that, they have anti-counterfeit devices. And one of these things is making it a thicker material that they think cannot be counterfeited. I'm not sure if that's affected or not, just because, I don't typically use them. But if you try to crumple a thick sheet of paper with a plastic strip in it, it just won't ball up. And actually,
I think I get what you mean. Like our Australian money is a bit like that. We got like this little plastic bit in the corner, and it's a bit thicker.
You crease it into a paper airplane?
Ooh, that'd be a good way to do it.
Not even possible. I was sitting next to somebody who didn't speak English, and they made a gesture that I should dip it in my beer and it would work better.
Oh.
And I'd already thrown it, and it fell to the ground right next to me. So I picked it up, I dipped it in my beer, and I threw it again, and it landed a row in front of me on a guy's hoodie. And he didn't notice it the rest of the show. He just sat there with about $1 worth of money sitting in his hoodie.
What a lovely little gift.
We all had a good laugh.
What a magical experience.
I never figured what happened to that 20 peso. I don't think it made it into the ring. But I'll go ahead and jump to the main event. It was the good guys versus the bad guys. It was a 3 versus 3. It was Rush, Garza Jr., and Bestia 666.
Oh, we were just talking about Rush.
Yeah. That was my first time really seeing him. I've been aware of a lot of the Lucha Libre. I really like the flippy style. It's very energetic. But a lot of these guys I'd never seen before. And at this meet and greet, I was actually wearing a Fenix shirt. And these guys came up to me and said, "Hey, I love that shirt, man. Where did you get it? That's awesome. This guy's This guy's definitely the best. And I told them, I said, guys, I've actually heard a lot about you, but I've never had a chance to see you. Well, these guys were really nice, but I'm telling you what, they were treating the wrestlers like shit in the main event. They were playing ultimate heel. And it was great because these are the local favorites. You know, they are the Tijuana's own people. But when you go against heroes like Rey Mysterio, Alberto El Patron, Pentagon, or Penta Ciro Miedo, I mean, you know, these are going to be the real heroes, right? And when the match was over, the bad guys went over. And it's funny because people were very, very pissed, but they were still tipping the money.
Are they La Rebellion, the sort of big faction in CMLL?
You know, I'm actually not that sure about it. I don't want to speak on that, but you know, it was certain that they were a faction together. I just am not that familiar with it. But it was funny because when it was over, they were throwing their coins into the ring, but it wasn't like earlier, you know, when there were good matches earlier in the show. They were throwing them out of courtesy and respect, but they were trying to hit these guys in the face with their coins. Each other in the stomach. You know, everybody's booing the crap out of them, but they were flinging coins as hard as they. Yeah, exactly. And coins were landing in the front row opposite of the ring, and people were dodging them. I mean, it was just something. But
that
you know,
sounds
I gotta
like
say,
a
like,
nuts like experience to actually like be there in fucking Tijuana with like all these projectiles being thrown and just like the heat and like oh, that's cool, man.
And when we were supposed to throw money, it was like this is their tradition, and it was really cool to be around that. Just like at that meet and greet, you know, like all of these people knew that, you know, some of these kids may never have a chance to meet these guys at another opportunity, and so everybody was taking pictures. I got a chance to take a picture with like ECH, Shane Strickland, Willie Mack, Flamita, actually. So Flamita was on Dragon Gate with one of my good friends, Mike Seidel. You might know him, brother of Matt Seidel. Talking to Mike, he's our current champion in our local promotion in Denver called Lucha Libre and Laughs. I recommend you look it up if you've never heard about it. And he's our rolling champion. He lives in Kansas City, but he always comes out. And I told him I was going to the show, and he said, hey, you know, he doesn't speak a lick of English, but please tell Flamita I said hello. So I put it in my Google Translate. Hey, can I get a quick picture with you for Mike Seidel? And Flamita just started glowing. He's like, you know, Mike? Oh, that's incredible. He was cheesing in the picture. I mean, great guy. I think we all know the talent of Flamita.
Oh,
but
dude.
Really, you know, high quality character as well.
That's awesome.
Dude, everything I hear about Mike, I can't help but think about that fucking spot where CZW, where the guy does a fucking backflip, Styles clash and knocks Mike out. It's one of the gnarliest things I've ever seen in my life. I think like legit knocked cold. It was fucking crazy. It's absurd.
Hey, Mike Seidel, pioneer of the yoga spots in wrestling.
He's tremendous. He's they're both really cool guys. Him and his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're both great guys. I've had a chance to see Matt a lot more outside of Denver, but if you haven't, you know, if anybody's listening, you haven't really watched Mike, he's every bit as competent. He's very flippy. He's very talented. He's also extremely athletic. And may I say, I mean, of all the wrestlers I've ever met, he's probably the kindest person, you know, so definitely explore him if you haven't listened to that. You know, what I thought was really funny is one of the opening matches, David Starr was in a fatal four-way. And one of the ring announcer, who is a native guy to Tijuana, tried to do his whole the cream in your coffee type of thing. He didn't quite pull it like Jim Smallman. He, you know, he just kind of read it off a sheet of paper, and I was, you know, laughing my ass off.
What was the Mexican fans' reaction to this? Because that's got to be pretty weird for someone that doesn't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't think they really understood it. It was just kind of like a monotone, like I have to read this paragraph type of thing. And they kind of cut it off early, kind of like Shane Strickland's Shaka Khan "Ain't No Body" song. They actually cut it off before the
criminal.
Oh, I know. Like I tried to yell it out, but I was the only person, and nobody had any idea what I was.
Yeah, he's our local. Well, up until recently was our local champ, and he did the whole Shaka Khan. Now he's got his own fucking swerve music, and it's such a bummer because that entrance was so fucking great, dude.
Probably my favorite entrance music in all of wrestling today.
Agreed.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny. It's my stepmom's favorite song, and when we went to WrestleCon, you know, everybody's singing it out loud, and I sent it to her in a video, and she had no idea that wrestling also involved Shaka Khan. It was pretty funny. You know, one of the things I want to mention is nobody there had any idea who Joey Janela was. He was in it was either a tag match or a fatal 4-way match. I think it was fatal 4-way. It was listed as a tag on the card, but they did switch some things up. Now, they knew who
Yeah, so
Brian
that was
Cage
originally
was.
meant to be Ray Horus and Austin Theory against Brian Cage and Joey Janela. So who did he end up working?
Well, so I don't remember the exact. I mean, things were a little fuzzy.
Yep.
Things were a little. Beer is very cheap there.
Cerveza.
Yeah. With that chile limon on the cup. I mean, it was very, very exciting. But I'll tell you what, nobody knew who Joey Janela was, and he worked that crowd. He actually went over at the end of the match, and everybody went nuts for him. I mean, he was tumbling in the crowd. He did his chair spot.
I saw a gif that he did the like plancha over the guardrail from like the run up at ringside over into the crowd, and like the crowd just went nuts for it.
Oh, they went nuts because he works so hard. You know, he's got his own unique style. He's not very technical. I think we all know that. But the things he does are just crazy as hell, and he's really trying to win over the crowd. And it was real. I mean, it made me happy. I've met the guy. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've seen him work a couple of times, and just to see people not know who he is to immediately turning toward him like that. I mean, it made me very, very happy, and I could see the smile on his face when he went over, and I believe it was the Fatal 4-Way. You know, he knew he'd done a good job there, and I'll tell you what, he threw himself everywhere. I mean, I've seen Joey Janela matches, PWG, things like that. Even our local Lucha Libre and Laughs. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, I thought he was getting hurt when he had to stay down, and he would just get back up and keep down into the crowd.
There's something to be said about a reckless motherfucker that just does not give a shit about his own personal well-being that I love.
Especially coming back when knowing Joey is not even formally trained, like the level he's gotten to based off that alone is pretty much insanity. A big part of Wale Mania was me and Rhett Titus, who is a big buddy of Joey's, just drunkenly gushing about how awesome Joey was. We're just drunk as shit, like, Janela's great, man. Bad boy's awesome.
Oh yeah.
You know, one of the best parts about Joey is like how long he was wrestling. Like he was wrestling for like 10 years. Like obviously starting out with like the backyard stuff or whatever. But it was that fucking ridiculous spot with him taking the thing from Zandig off the top of that like shed roof into that
onto a truck.
Yeah, onto the truck. It's like it was a ridiculous bump. Joey legitimately almost died. Zandig broke his back and hasn't wrestled since. And like that ridiculous dumb thing that 99 people out of 100 would not have done, but Joey did, is kind of in a lot of ways responsible for him becoming like having this amazing hot run that he's had ever since. Like he's probably one of the top indie guys going.
Hate that kind of shit. A lot of guys who hate that kind of shit, fans, still love Joey Janela. Like he's just he's got that intangible, like the personality's just there, and all the stuff he does online with like the production with John Carlo, with all the videos. Fucking tremendous.
John Carlo, that guy has the best video production going in wrestling today, man. Those things are cool as shit. All of those teasers that came out for this year's Spring Break and Bloodsport, bravo.
Mm-hmm. Agreed 100%. We were talking about the throwing in the money in the ring, and we've all been to PWG. One time I was down there, and money was in the ring, and not all of it got picked up. Ricochet goes in the ring and starts throwing the money back into the crowd, because I think you're going to set up T-shirts or stuff, so he just started throwing the money back. Oh, man, that cracked me the fuck up.
That's money.
Yeah,
he's not going to take the money. He couldn't take the money, but he did. He was like, here, back to the fans since they didn't grab it.
Yeah,
and you know what? We've all seen it in PWG, how appreciative that they are, that, I mean, for lack of a better word, that the people from the United States or wherever they're coming from are just observant of that part of their culture and want to show respect. But the way that they looked at it in Mexico, in Tijuana, I mean, it's almost a novelty at PWG. In Tijuana, they were beaming with respect. It was like, this is not what we've heard we're supposed to do. This is literally people that may not even have the money that are literally throwing it into the ring out of respect. Yeah. And I mean, these guys were just cheesing so hard.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I hate to be sometimes a jaded fan, but after it's happened so often at PWG, it got to be the part where, like, okay, you guys are playing the role of the fan who throws the money in.
Yeah, they did it at WrestleCon. Yeah, I mean...
you don't want to like hate on something that's supposed to be showing respect. You're like, but guys, I mean, all right, I guess if you're going to do one cliche, make it this awesome cliche where you're giving people money.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
even if it is a cliche or whatever, like it's cool, and I hope that it
Yeah.
becomes more of a thing in indie wrestling, because like just the idea
It's
of
very
dudes putting on an awesome performance and you tipping them for that performance, like fuck,
Yeah.
that should be more of a thing.
Yeah, I gave people money that I would have never spent money on a T-shirt for because I either didn't know who they were, or maybe I didn't like the shirt, or
Or
just
it's
whatever.
awkward,
Right?
or yeah,
But I said, whoever you are, you've impressed me, and I'm giving you my money.
Yeah.
And I think
Except for that money that
example,
landed on
the
the
way they
guy.
fell
yeah,
Yeah.
the one in the guy's jacket.
Yeah. This guy got hit in the face, but he grabbed it and threw it in the ring because he knew it didn't belong to him. It was just, it was great.
Yeah,
And,
my
there-
first attempt to
there-
throw money into the ring was actually at that Battle of Los Angeles, because obviously we don't have anything like that in Australia. And I was the same. I worked out that this papery American money actually works really great if you just ball it up and throw it in. So most of them work pretty well, except for one really disastrous one where I tried to throw it and it just died like about a meter from me. That was quite embarrassing.
Well, that's a Mexican peso bill for you.
Yeah.
It's
I was at an
exactly-
indie show, and Raven was on the card, and Raven, of course, has this spot where he uses the chair and does the drop toe hold into his opponent into it, and he called for a chair, and people in the front row tried to throw their chairs in the ring, but they all, I'd say at least 15 chairs, bounced off the ropes and back to the outside around the ring. It's quite hysterical to the point where, like, I didn't want to throw a chair in the ring, so eventually I'm like, this is embarrassing for all around, so I just stood up and chucked my damn chair in there. But yeah, watching all these chairs just bounce off and coming back at the people, they could have lost an eye.
No, it's so funny. Like that, it wasn't quite ECW where they threw them into the
Yeah,
ring.
like the Terry Funk
but
spot.
People were, yeah, exactly. But people in the ringside were literally standing up and handing their chairs to, for example, Pentel Ceremiedo or Joey Janela, and or beers. Like literally they would have half of a double beer left. So 12 ounces of beer. Please take my beer and throw it at your enemy.
Yeah,
And,
that
you know,
is
it would
that is
land-
like a classic spot of we were talking about Rush before and his awesome feud that he's had with LA Park. That is a classic spot. I've seen it like 100 times where the fan just passes them a lot of the times like a full beer as well, and they just turf this like full beer into the dude's face, and it's just a thing. Part of the magic of
Oh,
Mexican
yeah.
wrestling.
Yeah, I
I
love
gotta say, one of the things that was really, really interesting is, we were talking about how you respect your local wrestlers and things like that. Austin Theory actually wrestled Ray Horace. It was not the match that was on the card. And Austin is very athletic, but he's not nearly as flippy as Ray Horace.
Well, I mean, both of those
And-
guys have some history with Evolve, right? I'm pretty sure both of those
Right.
dudes the last couple
They-
years
they
have done
definitely-
stuff there. So you'd think they would sort of
They
mesh.
definitely worked each other. It was a great match. Actually, I was talking to a guy that I sold an extra ticket to, and he said it was his favorite match of the night.
Huh.
And I got to say, I was pretty impressed with Austin Theory. I've actually only watched him a couple times in Evolve. I know who he is, but hadn't really watched him. And I mean, what a great match! That was actually the first match that people threw money in. And you would think that Ray Horace would have more of a following in Mexico than Austin Theory, but Austin was completely over with the crowd. I was having to counter with the chant for Ray Horace.
Wow.
And it was just incredible. I mean, they like, once again, just like Joey Janela, they were diving out of the ring, landing on the rail, things like that. And I actually want to give props. I can't believe I'm saying this with all respect to him if he's listening, but Alberto El Patron in the main event with Rush Garza Jr. and Bestia C666 versus Patron and Rey Mysterio and Pentagon. They were all heroes in these kids and even the adults' lives. I mean, they all know who these, the good guys were, and everybody was excited to see them. But I didn't think I'd get as good of a showing out of Alberto.
Yeah, I mean,
just
you
because
sort of
of
expect the
what
vibe of, him not necessarily caring or taking the payday or that kind of
just kinda
stuff.
phoned
But
it in or something like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. He got his ass thrown over the rail. All four corners got somebody thrown over the rail. He was first to go, and he got a beer thrown in his face. He tumbled through the chairs. I mean, he ate shit, and he was the first one to do it. I couldn't believe it. I turned to the people I was sitting next to and just said, "Wow." Of all the things that was going on, especially the way he kind of received all the pictures, he was definitely it almost looked like he was phoning it in, but maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was just trying to get through that many people. And as much as I've really never been a mark for Alberto Del Patron, I really got to hand that to him. He earned my respect with the way he went through things. He did not phone it in. I mean, he got his ass kicked for some of this match. And so
Nice,
did Ray
man.
and Penta. Bad guys went over. But one of the most exciting things is Pentagon threw, I forgot who it was, but threw one of the guys over. I was sitting in the second row and threw him right over the rail right by me. Pentagon starts grabbing all these chairs and just burying this guy in the chairs. And then he grabs a chair and starts smashing the chairs with chair shots. And people are just dumping beer on this guy. Security is having to get over the PA system and say, please stop throwing beer on the wrestlers. Please sit in your seats. I mean, and Pentagon was just beating the shit out of him with this chair. I wish I could remember who it was so I could give him that credit just for taking it. But it was so exciting. Like,
Best
it was, I mean, it was just like,
ESA normally takes a pretty badass beating, so I'm half expecting it was probably
Really?
him. I don't know.
maybe it was him. Maybe it was him. You know, and not only that, but I mean, you know, Flamita did a good job. Even the 3 versus 3 match where it was.
I was
you know,
gonna say,
ACH
if
and
there
Shane-
was one show on this card that I was the most excited about when I looked at it when you sent it through to me, it is this. Yeah, Willie Mack, ACH, and Shane Strickland against Bandito, Flamita, and Septimo Dragon. Who I haven't seen much of Septimo Dragon.
Yes.
So please tell us
Yes,
about
I hadn't
that.
seen much of him either. Well, first off, once again, just like the whole Ray Hoarders thing, you would think that a certain team is going to be over with the crowd more, right?
Yep.
Well, ACH came out to mariachi music and was doing a dance in the ring before his partners came out. Shane Strickland came out to his song, but they cut it off early. And Willie Mack just did his thing. And first off, I haven't really got a chance. I had never seen Willie Mack live. I've watched
Oh
his matches.
man,
Throwing himself all over the place, doing his flips. I mean, he was going nuts.
Willie Mack is
But
the
the-
shit.
Dude, he has the best story. He literally started as a PWG fan and just stuck around, always helped break down stuff, and then eventually started training, man. So, yeah, all the best to Willie. The guy, bum luck with, like, I guess, health conditions with fucking WWE, but the guy's tremendous and way athletic for his size. It's incredible.
Yeah, so
Well, I
good.
can say, guys, this match actually ended up being the comedy match, which is not what I was expecting. I was expecting the most PWG style match with very high spots and things like that. And it was funny because everything they did were in threes, kind of like that match from a couple years ago in BOLA. They got the 5 stars. Like, everything they did were in threes, but a lot of it was dancing. They kept having dance offs, but the
Yeah.
dance off
Willie
would end
Mack's
up.
pretty well known for his dance offs in Crash.
Oh, it was great, but they also did include a lot of those high spots. Everybody was diving everywhere, and once again, people. I think Shane and ACH had worked Crash before. I'm not sure about Willie Mack. People seem to kind of know who they were, but
Oh, Willie
really
Mack's
thought
been
that the
there
guy-
for all of the Crash shows that I've seen, so he's a bit of a regular.
Yeah, this is actually my first Crash match. So I watched a couple matches on YouTube, but
Yeah.
to see the entire show and see how people were reacting.
Yo,
Hello.
hello.
I'm still here. I think we might have lost Mr. Craft.
I think we might have lost Mr. Crash. Well, John, if that is it, thank you for calling in. Thank you for this run-in. I very much appreciated it. That was really cool. It was really good to get that in person. All those little things that you don't necessarily know just from watching the show on YouTube. The thing about the peso.
Oh, he's back.
Oh,
He's
you're back. You're back.
Oh, I must have hit the mute button, or maybe it was that Wi-Fi here.
No, that's all good, man. I'm
Well,
glad that
I,
you're still here.
I mean, I just had a couple closing notes here, and then I do have to let you go.
Yep, all good.
Everybody that I thought would be over with the crowd, that's just not the way it was. And maybe it's my own, naivete to having not watched a lot of Crash and thinking that, the fans in Mexico automatically like Mexican wrestlers, but that just wasn't the way it was. There are definitely
Interesting.
people here that have worked hard to get themselves known, and people that I knew, right? But I didn't think coming down here that people would be aware of these guys' talent, like, for example, ACH or something like that. And they had a massive following. It was just really nice to see. I can't wait to go back. Like
Yeah.
I said, props to Flamita and really Alberto too, just because he earned my respect for the first time.
Yeah,
Props
man.
to Austin Theory for being more over than Ray Horus. I mean, it was great. And Fenix wasn't even on the card, and he showed up. And Matt Riddle was there. I mean, we haven't even talked about Matt Riddle.
Yeah, I was
People
gonna say,
I
so
think
so
they've seen
that
one
was the other
by him.
match. Sorry to talk over you, man, but that was the other match I was very excited about. The semi-finale incredible. Daga and the King, which is Phoenix's independent name, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, against Matt Riddle and Adam Brooks. Did that match actually take place as advertised?
It was Matt Riddle versus Mr. 450, and Mr. 450 versus Daga and Phoenix.
Oh, that still
And
sounds like a
I
great
think
match.
people had seen a little. Oh, it was a great match, and people had seen a little bit of Matt Riddle, but you could hear the gasp in the crowd when he starts kneeing and elbowing the guy in the head repeatedly. I mean, these guys next to me hadn't watched wrestling really in 15 years, and I had to tell him, he's from UFC. That's why he's working this way. And I mean, they were like scared that he was literally trying to kill these people in the ring.
Yeah, that's great.
Which
So
he could do. I mean,
he
for
really
snaps,
could.
He could kill anyone.
I've heard things. So did you say that Daga was on the opposite side of the ring as Matt Riddle?
Yeah, Daga was with Phoenix.
Yeah, cool. Because Daga himself works a bit of an MMA style in a lot of stuff that I have seen him at. Really, really impressive guy. When I saw that sort of match, I was envisioning all the stuff with Matt Riddle and Daga would be very good, because if anyone's going to be able to do that kind of style in Mexico, it would be Daga.
Well, and he took the shots. I mean, he was the guy that was taking these elbows and these knees and just taking it. And, Matt Riddle looked like a god out there, but I mean, Daga made him look like $1 million.
Awesome. Nice, man. So good. Yeah, thank you so much for the call in. Did you have any closing notes or any other little awesome odd little things to recommend to people about if they visit Tijuana themselves?
I heard they got good tacos. Is that true?
They have incredible tacos, and they're less than $1. I mean, literally the best tacos I've found. You want shrimp on it? All right, $2 tops. So to anybody that's never been to Tijuana, it's not like what you hear. If as long as you don't go looking for trouble, you're not going to find trouble. And if you can ever get a chance to go down and see a crash show, support the economy. They need it, and it's a good price for you. It's a great vacation. You can go check out San Diego and go to the beach. I mean, it's just excellent. And really, the last thing I wanted to plug is, I said I was going to. Everybody check out Lucha Libre and Laughs in Denver. We are looking to. I'm good friends with the owner, and I'm like part-time with them, right? I help them, like for example, get this talent booking and things like that when I was down here. But they're looking to expand to Las Vegas. They're really about to blow up. He's had meetings with some of the major television corporations, which I won't mention just because they have ongoing negotiations. But he's really looking to expand it, and it's one of those things like the Vavavoom and what's the one in Oakland, Hood Slam.
Yeah.
It's really kind of like that. They have stand-up comedy, they have wrestling, and over the wrestling they make jokes. They're comedians running commentary over the matches. It's a really good thing because 85% of these people have never watched a wrestling match, or at least in like 20 years or so. And you can tell the wrestling fans, they won't shut up.
That's awesome. That sounds very similar to we were raving about 3-2-1 Battle a couple of shows ago. Sounds like similar vibes.
When I met Jonathan or we spoke to you, we discussed this exact thing, and then I talked about 3-2-1 Battle. So that's exactly what we spoke about last time.
I am a strong advocate for it.
Oh man, no, that's awesome. You gotta grind for your fucking people, man. So mad respect.
Yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate you having me. It's actually been a pleasure. This did not go as terrible as I thought it would. Like I said, first time ever on a podcast, but hopefully we can do it again sometime.
For sure.
Yeah, man, for real. Hey, thank you so much. I super appreciate it, man, and I'd love to hear more about Lucha Libre and Laughs in the future. So, hey, if you go to a show, feel free to do another run-in, and we'll hear that live perspective.
Well, you got it. And Chris, you'll be visiting me soon. We'll book it around a Lucha Libre and Laugh show.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm definitely making a trip that way, and I would love to work that in, my friend.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Good luck with your podcast, and thank you for having me on.
Thanks, man. Thanks a bunch, man. You take care.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks, Chris.
Peace.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, that was real fun. That was nice. So Jeremy, we
Yes,
have
sir.
one more thing to discuss in this show.
What would you like to cover?
So, there was a deathmatch tournament that happened a couple of weeks ago in New Jersey in the
Before
Starland
we move
Ballroom.
on, actually, I need. This is just fun. The whole time that Jonathan was talking to us, he was on actually a video chat, and
I
he had
just
his
saw
phone
it towards the end.
He had his phone up to his ear, so I kept on seeing like flickers of light, and then all of a sudden his face popped on the screen. It was quite funny.
I saw it when he was hanging up.
Yeah, it was great. So yes, Tournament of Survival. I like the name, man. You know me, I'm not a big deathmatch fan. I'm not a big blood and guts fan, and I actually did peruse some of the matches before getting to the match we're going to discuss here. Holy shit, dude! These guys are. I can't hate. I mean, I can't hate too much. It's just insane. Like,
I mean,
the
you
stuff that
gotta
these guys wanna put
respect
their
it.
bodies through.
Like,
yes,
you can maybe not like it's not your cup of tea or whatever. And in a lot of ways, you know, I could not necessarily normally watch like a full match of deathmatch wrestling or a full card of deathmatch wrestling per se. I'll watch it time to time. To me, it's like the Cookie Monster. It's a sometimes food, and I think
Yes.
it's well consumed in that way. But yeah, even if you don't like that style at all, and it makes you actually nauseous, like you gotta respect those dudes. It's ridiculous.
the pain threshold alone, these guys, or they're just fucking. They don't have a good pain threshold. They're just maniacs. It's one or the other, but either one respectable. And fuck, some of the guys who I really, really like as far as people are deathmatch wrestlers, like Casanova Valentine, one of the nicest guys on Twitter. Jimmy Havoc, who I just finished a shirt for.
I follow Casanova Valentine on the Instagram.
He's awesome.
And yeah, his stuff that he posts for his like just club death matches, I love it. Dude is
and he's
such
also a
a
wicked
hustler.
good artist too.
Yeah, I think that's the original reason why I started following him. Then it's like, oh shit, dude wrestles death matches as well, huh?
Yeah.
What is it? The hipster heartthrob is his gimmick?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Well,
But
shout
yeah,
out
man.
to Casanova Valentine.
We should get him on the show sometime and talk about some deathmatch stuff, because honestly, I'd like to learn more. I think I'm gonna drag myself to one of these shows sometime just to. I mean, I kind of have to. I can't hate too much without experience in it, I guess. But who knows
Yeah.
when that'll happen?
Yeah,
But
that'd be
let's
great.
get on to it.
Yeah, for
PCO,
real.
Joey Janela.
PCO, Joey Janela. I obviously was ecstatic about PCO from spring break with his sick match against Walter. And just the career revival that he's having. All of his fucking weird YouTube promo videos with his hype coach. I don't know what the exact relationship is. The manager who basically puts him through the ringer. So like I've seen him electrocute PCO's nipples with car clamps. I have seen him tear a tennis ball with PCO's teeth. I've seen him wrap a steel bar around PCO's neck. I don't know the exact relationship, but I enjoy it. Strange man.
They seem close. Yeah, give him that. But you don't let a man torture you like that unless he's a really good friend.
The most recent one was actually excellent, where PCO was like dead, like a Frankenstein underneath like a sheet, and this dude was bringing him back to life. First of all, he hammered a nail into PCO's nose. Then he electrocuted him a bit with the car clips after like doing the rubbing them together and getting the sparks and stuff. And yeah, basically in the end he brought him back to life, and PCO cut a sweet little promo, but it needs to be seen to be believed.
That's fucking wrestling, baby. That to me, that's the kind of stuff that is missing in wrestling. Like insane guys doing insane things just to promote a fucking professional wrestling match.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's just bringing it right back to the freak show of old, which is kind of interesting because I almost see these deathmatch tournaments and death matches in general. It's almost like you're going to an old school carnival freak show in watching these shows, and just seeing this sick, crazy shit that these dudes are doing with the light tubes and those what are the
Dish
discs with
hooks.
the spike things where they like actually get them stuck into their head and they have to be pulled off with pliers and
It's like
yeah,
a
the
half a
fish
can
hook
of
spot.
soda, dude.
Oh
Like a half a
man,
can of beer can, half a beer can like cut off and stuff like. Yeah, the sick and twisted minds that come up with the torture weapons are some of the most creative things. Like Tournament of Death, they had like a trampoline with barbed wire and
oh, I
light
saw
tubes,
that.
and then a pane of glass over the top of the light tube. So it technically looked like if you land on the pane of glass, it might soften your landing for a brief second until you bounce and then come landing back on it. So,
What a weird
yeah.
statement, by the way. A pane of glass will soften your landing.
Yeah, it actually would briefly. Yeah, otherwise you're just going on light tubes and barbed wire. Oh fuck.
Man,
But yeah, dude,
a
this
funny
match was
thing
fucking
is
incredible.
like you're saying about like the work that goes into creating these gimmicks.
Yeah.
There is a lot of work and craftsmanship because in my again brief foray back in the day into the wrestling, I did a little bit of this deathmatch wrestling myself and got a big kick out of it. I think I enjoyed that more than anything else that I did. But you don't think about how much work goes into creating the gimmicks. You know, I did like a board of rat traps one time, like just
Nice.
a big wooden board, and you have the rat traps stuck to and all set up on the board. Like that, you got to get like a fucking hot glue gun. You got to work out how they're actually going to be stuck to the board. You got to buy all the rat traps. This was a good investment of time and going to the hardware store. You know, people forget that whoever is putting these gimmicks together, it's a lot of hard work. That's what I thought when I saw some of these things wheeled out on this show. Whether it was the board that had the half cut off beer cans that you were talking about,
Yes.
or there was one earlier in the show with did you see the one with the pizza cutters?
I did not. I did see one where it's just like it looked like 4 pieces of wood framing, which had like barbed wire running across it that you could just throw people in. I think that was in the Nick Gage match. Just bananas, dude. And you'd be shocked when you find out that the wrestling show with the least amount of wrestling ability has the highest engineering ability.
The skills got to go somewhere, you know. Instead of
Yes.
spending the time training, they're spending the time making these fucking gimmicks and studying up on how it works, I guess.
Hey, you gotta get over somehow, man.
Dude, a funny thing, like we saw, there were a lot of light tubes on this show. A lot of light tubes. Leading up to the biggest light tube spot, I think, was the light tube cabin, which is basically like a fucking big doghouse that was made out of light tubes. And our two dudes, Ciclope and Miedo Extremo, both went crashing on through it. It was almost, there were so many light tubes to where you get a bit desensitized to it, but to bring it back to a sense of reality of how painful this is, on one of my early back in the day wrestling trips, it was one of my first times wrestling in a state. I was on this show where in the main event, this dude whose name escapes me, Mikey something, took a big spot at the end through this light tube contraption. And you see it, and it's a big crash, and everyone goes crazy, whatever. What you don't see is the next, like, hour and a half after the show, where he's, like, sitting really uncomfortably and sad while he's having his girlfriend, like, pick each of these individual light tube glass shards out of his back. Like, it's a thing that you don't actually think about. You know, you think, this isn't the kind of thing, I mean, you have a shower and it washes a bit of it off, but then like you actually have to, these individual little bits and pieces have to come out, and then there's a lot of it that actually, you know, it's so small that it can't come out, so then it actually stays in the skin for a matter of days and weeks and just sort of comes out at their own time. Like, ooh, if that doesn't give you the heebie-jeebies, I don't know what does.
The part that made me cringe is thinking about after you take the shower and get some of it off, and then there's still going to be some on your skin, but you go to dry off and you're just grinding all those remnants back into your skin, dude. Fucking A, man.
Fuck that business.
Yeah. Luckily enough, the Joey and PCO match had very little of all that nonsense, but still pretty fucking hardcore. And
Oh, it
a
was
lot of good
great,
fun
and like
stuff,
it was almost more impressive to me because if like watching this whole show, you see so much shit to where you're desensitized to. I can only imagine the people in this building how desensitized to the craziness they are before they got up to this match, which I think was in like the semi-main event position. So they've
Yes,
seen
sir.
like everything, like all these light tubes, pizza cutters, these metal spiky discs, like just you name it. There was a bit where a dude tried to saw the other dude's leg off with an actual saw. Uh, just get fucked, hey. And then you're going out there with PCO and Joey Janela, and they're doing a bit of weapon stuff, but nothing like the deathmatch stuff. And they had the match that was the most over on the whole show, just because of the effort and the quality of those guys. It's really cool to see. Right from go, like you saw when PCO came out on this show, there was like a buzz in the building because people probably just heard about the Walter match and seen some of these videos, and he brings a whole different vibe to like anything else in wrestling right now.
Like a real monster, which is crazy. We both are of the age to see his progression from back in the fucking 80s and then in the 90s and all the different iterations of his character. To see what he is now, dude.
Actually, this past week I was just watching some Quebecers matches. There's a sweet one with Royal Rumble 94, I think, with Quebecers against Owen and Bret Hart. And then there are actually a couple of really sweet matches that he had when he became a pirate as Jean-Pierre Lafitte against Bret Hart, which I highly recommend. The match at In Your House was like, they stole that show from, Shawn Michaels and whatever the other dudes are up the top, and it was just an amazing match. So to see him go from that to where he is now in his career as like a 50-odd-year-old man who is just a monster. A literal monster.
And I forgot how crazy he was back in the day. Because, again, I too watched a little bit of Quebecer stuff back because I was watching some old Raws and such. And he constantly was doing the spot where he just take a somersault off over the top rope out to the outside.
Yeah, because
like,
that was the first version of the cannonball. That was what it was called, his cannonball off the top, which I guess being a pirate, I just got that pun. Ha. Yes. But yeah, he'd take that bump, like as a big dude, like 270, 280 pounds, whatever, taking this bump like every night. It's like modern day Joey Janela. I mean, back in the day, Joey Janela.
And the spot with the fucking the door where he broke it over. Like,
oh man,
they knew they had something there when they probably planned that out because that looked so fucking cool.
Yeah. So to try to put this into visuals for our listeners out there, prior to this, there was actually a 6 spot where they were up on like this staging bit above the crowd, and PCO gave Joey Janela a fallaway slam, like off of this ledge down to the lower section, and the fans actually caught Joey, like fucking like Mikey Whipwreck in ECW back in the day, or Spike Dudley, and they're just like surfing him around the building, and he like gave PCO the double bird. Fuck, I thought that was cool. Then get into the ring. They have a couple of actual literal doors, and Joey hits PCO with the door, and PCO just hands down, takes it, and his head goes through the door. So it's like this shining fucking moment, and then he basically hulks up, breaks the door, and then goes on to kill Joey a little bit more. Dude.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah, when I first saw that GIF, I was like, I may not have end up seeing this match, but that GIF alone is fucking awesome. So when I finally saw it come up in the match, because honestly, it wasn't the longest match, but the way they paced it and with how fun it was a really solid fucking match, and they had everyone in the palm of their hands the entire time.
Yeah, agreed. And again, like with the amount of stuff that the crowd would have seen up to that point, for them to have the crowd like they did, just a testament to how good both those dudes are. I mean, for the rest of the show, like I was saying, I'm not the biggest fan of deathmatch wrestling. I love some of it. I loved like FMW back in the day with Onita and like Terry Funk and obviously ECW and everything like that. it's almost like back then there was more of a lead up to the violence. So it's like a lot of reversal before the guys actually get to the big spot. Whereas now it's almost like just going straight to it. Like, dudes, you're going straight into the tubes. A lot of the guys were like voluntarily going into the tubes, hitting the tubes over their own head and stuff. I was trying to think of it. It's so weird. It's almost like, and this is maybe a funny comparison. It's like if you're watching porn, okay? So
Go on.
you have the
Hang on,
porn.
let me unzip. 1 second.
Yeah, get ready. So you have the porn that has the lead in. You know, you have the storyline. You have the wife that's home alone, and the plumber comes over and is fixing her pipes or whatever. Big old storyline lead in. And then you have the current day, what I believe they call is it gonzo porn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just straight to the fucking hardcore sex. Boom, boom, boom. No lead in. That's where deathmatch wrestling is today for me. You know, I feel like I kind of need a bit of a lead in. I don't know if I'm ready to just go straight to the.
That was a sexy simile. No,
So
that's a
did I.
good point, man. I dig it. Yeah, you're 100% right. And it's almost like the guys, instead of trying to avoid being injured, they almost are like, the badge of honor is who can get fucked up the most.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely
Like
felt that
fucking
way
Schlack.
at the finals.
Are you
Oh
familiar with
yeah,
Schlack? The guy
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
fucking maniac. He gets his leg impaled with a fucking filing cabinet, and then now he's bringing out filing cabinets again and again. Like, now it's his thing. He brings out filing cabinets.
Schlack is a crazy man. They had a bit where they like put a light tube up the side of his jeans, on the injured leg, and then like just wailed away on this leg with the light tube in the jeans. Like, you can't even see the explosion. It's like he's just getting hurt for his own shits and giggles.
Yeah, no one's even getting to enjoy this. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Good.
Oh man, there's another spot with like a trolley where they had like a trolley in the ring, and it's like just the weirdest, most awkward shaped thing to possibly take stuff onto. I mean, I guess it's an affordable gimmick to be using because you can just steal it from the local Walmart or whatever. But yeah, they had this trolley, set it on its side, loaded a bunch of light tubes on it, and then took a spot off the top rope into the shopping trolley. Craziness. But yeah, I think the craziness was definitely at its peak in the main event, the finals of this Tournament of Survival. We had Ciclope and Miedo Extremo, two dudes from DTU and the sort of extreme wrestling scene in Mexico. And sadly, it was not the same Ciclope of WCW fame.
Yeah, that's the whole time I was saying, this guy looks fucking young.
Yeah,
I was like,
jeez.
that's not Ciclope.
He must have been 14 years old in WCW.
Yeah.
But yeah, that had some ridiculous shit. As like tag team partners, work on one another. I guess they take it to another level when you're very familiar with the guy. I mean, my favorite bit was honestly the bit where they actually took the ring apart, took the, padding the canvas off, and then, no, that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to just take spots onto the wooden boards. They got the ring crew to take the boards away. So we had the actual raw framework of the ring, which, shock horror, actually had a barbed wire spider web thing on it.
What?
What a surprise.
Spider web underneath everything.
Yeah, it was there the whole time.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so they did
Ridiculous.
They did a thing where I think it was Miedo Extremo took a crazy thing off the top rope into the spider web, and then nuts.
I've seen a spot where they take the ring apart all that way, and then the guy got a pile driver right on the steel beam. I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys! Like,
yeah, I think I've seen Great Sasuke take some stuff onto the actual
ring
frame. But yeah, dude, it was definitely an experience. And if deathmatch wrestling is your thing, I highly recommend our listeners give it a watch. But at the very least, check out this Joey Janela PCO match. I was so excited by it. And then that brings us on to the news that just broke like yesterday. PCO announced as the first entrant into this year's PWG Battle of Los Angeles. What?
Yes, sir. That's what a skyrocket over this last fucking couple of months. That is the biggest tournament in the United States as far as I'm concerned. So it's pretty impressive that a guy his age is coming out to compete. I mean, Liger did it, so it's not unheard
almost
of.
similar to, I remember Finlay was announced in it a couple of years ago when he had that awesome run on the indies with Sammy Callahan. But yeah, so stoked. Man, I really hope.
While we're recording, they announced number 2. Someone who is a mainstay up here up at Defy now is Brody King. Brody King is entrant number Deuce.
Awesome. Yeah, I've really liked what I've seen of Brody King in MLW and stuff. He's a very talented big man.
Yeah, the most recent Defy show, I forget who he was supposed to work, but they didn't end up showing up, and he ended up working against Super Crazy, who was the surprise entrance, and that was really good because Brody, for a guy his size, can do some good lucha stuff.
Nice.
Some good lucha things, somebody might say.
Yeah, man, that's great. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, what a world! What a world! This BOLA sounds like it's going to be nuts. I can't wait to see who's going to be next, and I am waiting with bated breath to see whether Courtney's roller derby finals will be in Atlanta, so that I get to go to this crazy BOLA. I'm very excited and hopeful.
Fingers crossed, and I'm hopeful for you as well, sir.
But either way, you're going to be there, right?
The all signs point to yes at this time, as long as I'm able to procure a ticket.
Nice. I mean, and that is a difficult thing in and of itself, as we both know.
Yes, sir.
Did you get all 3 straight up last time?
I had to. Well, I had people buying tickets for me, so the first go I had tickets all sorted, but I was still nervous as hell because you have it in other people's hands the entire time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, man. Well, fingers crossed that all works out. And yeah, I hope that listeners out there in the, that shit is worth making a trip for. If anything is Battle of Los Angeles, I'm even more excited for that than I would be necessarily for All In or some of this other stuff that, has these more internet hype going for it. Show's going to be dope.
Any evidence of how awesome it could be, the 3 guys on this show all met at a PWG show, and you make fast friends that, in your local circles, you may not be able to nerd out as hard on wrestling as you may want to at times, but come to PWG, you're going to find some people who are at your level, and maybe, some people you may even want to avoid. They might be a little bit too much for you as well.
Are you saying that the dumbness may be too much for some people?
Oh, it can be a bit extreme at times. The dumbness does get thick, but hey, that's what we're there for.
That's what we're there for. And yeah, what an appropriate thing that's where we all met for the first time. And I think that's just a testament to the awesome scene and the family and all that kind of thing about the cool vibes of PWG. And I really hope that continues into the new venue where BOLA will be taking place this year. No more lovely Reseda.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I mean, I'm excited about the future. I've heard great things about the venue, so I'm hoping that the same vibes will be there, and the ghost of Reseda will still be at these shows.
I'm just romanticizing Reseda. It's not that great. It's definitely an upgrade. It's a favorite little dirt ball when you've gone so many times and you've had such a great time there.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Well, close up shop, friend.
I was gonna say on that note, I think we've reached that point. Fun chats as always. I enjoyed the show today. Had a nice organic feel to it. A little run in from John.
We're talking about how organic and normal it was.
Well,
the show today was real
fun.
Organic and natural, and it didn't seem forced at all.
Yeah. Well, now we're getting to the part where we pre-planned to put over the show, right? So
Yes.
very organic.
Our show is fucking great. We're fucking great. Where can you find more awesome stuff from you, Chris?
Well, my favorite place on the internet is the Instagram. You can find me at Chris Things on the Instagram. Lots of wacky wrestling art. I'm on a real kick at the moment of doing violent stuff in hyper crazy psychedelic colors. So if you
Pastels
that
and
sounds
all kinds of
like
cool
it'll
stuff.
Yeah, pastels. Love the
I'm digging it.
pastels.
I dig it,
Thanks,
brother.
man.
And I am at James Vanderbeek, Jaims Vanderbeek, on both Twitter and Instagram. If you need a shirt design or anything, get at me. I don't know if a lot of wrestlers listen to this podcast, but hey, if you know a wrestler who needs a shirt design, tag me in a Twitter post. I'm all about it.
Indeed. Some quality stuff. And also, if you're not a wrestler, check out this man's Twitter, Instagram, all the places. It's a hilarious time. I get a great kick out of your puns, sir.
I appreciate it, buddy. And honestly, the ridiculous adulation I get from my Twitter account, as ridiculous it is, when you're a depressed person, it makes you feel quite well to make people feel so happy. So yeah, man, I appreciate that. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I think you've spread a lot of positivity throughout the interwebs for a lot of
Fuck
wrestling
yeah.
fans.
Damn
Yeah.
right. Hell yeah.
Aw.
All right, man. Well, it's been nice.
All
chatting.
right. Yeah, for
Courtney,
real.
if you're listening, hello. We're cutting it off now. Hope you enjoyed the show.
It'll be a running joke for the show on how annoyed my girlfriend is for having to listen through the entire duration of our show, but she keeps on doing it. So hey,
The doll. Doll.
yeah, I
All
like
right.
it. I like
Thanks,
it.
everybody.
Well, just in closing the show,
Oh,
I
shit.
want to give a shout out to the Social Suplex guys. Great stuff on the Social Suplex podcast hub and website that those guys put together. A lot of cool posts and everything, and the other shows as well. Make sure you check out One Nation Radio. We've got Keeping It Strong Style. I love that show. They had a very great breakdown of the Epic Dominion recently. Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, Outsiders Edge Wrestling Show, and the Wrestling Wash. That's all at socialsuplex.com. So yeah, check that out. But yeah, thank you so much for everybody listening again. 4 episodes down. It feels longer because we only do once every 2 weeks. But yeah, I'm enjoying things. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank
if,
you very
if
much, my
everything
friend.
awesome happens, like maybe one of these days we might have to do like an emergency show if some big news happens, or if we get a wild hair up our ass if we watch something and want to chat about it. I mean, I'm not opposed to doing more than one every once in a while. You know what I mean, buddy?
Yeah, definitely. I feel the same. I'm quite open to things. I'm always cognizant of people's time.
Yes, you as
obviously,
well.
a lot of awesome podcasts out there. Like, I mean, obviously ourselves, but a lot of the listeners out there. But hey, yeah, we might give it a go sometime. Going a little bit more frequent. We'll play it by ear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Always nice talking to you, man.
You too, man. Hey, you said on the first show you had a sweet close that you used to do on the Indie-rific podcast.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it could be appropriate for you to bring that back on episode 4?
I don't mind at all. I'm quite fond of it. To each of yours. Oh wait, I fucked it up. All right, to each of you, to all, keep it safe and keep it swifty.
Beautiful.
All right, buddy. We'll go back
Thanks
to
so
playing
much,
some Grand
man.
Theft Auto. That was ridiculous.
The bear's a winner, well, a bird, bird, bird.